What's up, everybody? We're back here for another episode of the Level Up Your Life podcast. And as always, I'm your host, Billy Anderson. And today I want to talk to you about one of my favorite topics, which is planning, and more importantly, how to effectively plan your day, week, month, year, so that you can increase the amount of speed that you put towards achieving these goals. And, before we get started, I want to make sure that you guys know I don't really run, I don't run any ads. I don't really promote anything on here, but I do promote free value. And I want to let you guys all know, make sure to check out my YouTube channel to be able to find more information about this particular topic, as well as many other. I'm doing a lot of long form whiteboard content where I'm breaking down a lot of these strategies, which I'm going to be breaking down this strategy in a follow-up video after this podcast that's going to be available on YouTube as well. So make sure you check that out. But with that, I want to get into how I've been approaching planning to be able to improve the speed at which I achieve the goals. And one of the biggest things that I've learned through networking with higher and higher level entrepreneurs, people that have $100 million plus net worth. And one of the biggest things that I've learned from them, because when you're interacting with these types of people, it's just not networking for association. Association is about learning and seeing what they're doing on a day in, day out basis. And so as I've built my network and I've connected with these, high level entrepreneurs, the biggest thing that I've learned is, the higher the income, higher the value that these individuals bring to the market, the less these people talk about, I need more hours in the day. And that's something that so many of us entrepreneurs talk about is I need more hours in the day so I can get more done. But the reason that we're not getting more done is because we're not structuring our days correctly. And so I'm here today to share with you guys how I've been able to condense timeframes to be able to achieve more and be able to create more freedom. One of my biggest faults is I've always been a hustler, somebody that's been willing to work endless amounts of hours. But what I've done as I've continued to grow is I wanted to work less, but have more of an effective value, because I still need to be able to have time for myself, my life, and doing things that I enjoy and love, because entrepreneurship is supposed to be the vehicle that helps us have what we want from life, not be the life that we live. And so what I've done is I've gone and built out my daily schedules into blocks. And one of the most important things is if we are honest with ourselves and we really map out our weeks, more often than not, most weeks structurally are exactly the same. The same thing you do on Monday tends to be the same thing you do every Monday. And so when you can frame it that way, this helps you really be able to create this freedom. And so, first thing I do is I map out all my weekly activities, the things that happen without a doubt every single week. These are not, random meetings. These are, our Monday morning team meeting, needing to do X on Fridays, doing the, these are those things that consistently happen every single week. So I build those out. Then what I do is I build blocks around those. Now, what's really important is when you're building these blocks, you may have to adjust those weekly schedules or those weekly appointments so they fit into these blocks. But what I like to do is I do 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. That's my first 2-hour block. And that block is all about framing my day, priming the day, getting ready for the day. That's my workouts, my meditation, my cold showers, preparing for the day. 8 to 10 o'clock is an extremely focused time that I focus on high level activities, high income producing, high impact activities, things that are going to move the needle forward. If you've watched episode 16 of the MFCEO from Andy Frisella, you'll know about the power list. And the power list is one of the biggest game changers. But when you approach your day with just having these important things to get done, what ends up happening is that we look at, all right, I've got 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. I've got 10 hours to get these 5 things done. I got plenty of time. And that's how most people approach everything that they have to do. I've got time. I'll get it done tomorrow. I'll get it done the next hour. I'll get it done in 15 minutes. We're always pushing it out because we feel like we've got more time. But when we break it down in these time blocks, that gives us these kind of a mental framework that we only have 2 hours to get X done in this 2-hour period. And this allows us to have a start and an end date versus going, I have to get this done today. Yes, technically it is a start and an end date, but you have so much freedom. And when you have freedom with your day, what ends up happening? As entrepreneurs, we tend to fill it up with problems, distractions from emails, phone calls, DMs, all these types of things that pull our attention away from moving the needle forward. And so when we give ourselves these blocks, we can give ourselves 0 distraction blocks. And so when I go 8 to 10, I like to give 0 distractions. Phone gets turned around. I don't respond to emails. I don't respond to DMs. This is the time that I'm going to get heavy focused projects done. So I tend to do 8 to 10 o'clock tends to be more like computer work, paperwork type stuff, because a lot of our prospects maybe aren't up, those types of things. So I'm not going to be doing follow-up calls at 8 o'clock in the morning. Then I have 10 to 12 o'clock. This is time that I tend to either leave for content, which is literally right now, it's about 11:50. I've got 10 minutes to wrap this podcast up so that I can then go and get on some sales calls, because 10 to 12 is time that I either work with my team or I shoot content. Then from 12 to 2, this is the time that I do my follow-up calls or I have my sales calls. Now, do we have sales calls sometimes outside of that? Absolutely. But I'm trying to remove myself from our sales side of the business. We're bringing in a new head of sales so that they can take over all these appointments that are coming up. And this is what I'm talking about. If you currently have appointments that don't fit within the time frames that you need for these blocks throughout your day, I like to set up 2-hour blocks, but some people like to do 3 or 4 or maybe 1-hour blocks. It's about testing to figure out what works best for your systems. So when you can build these time frames, you give yourself a short window of time to chunk out high focus activities. And it's really important in these times that you set boundaries for yourself and you understand what are distractions. And a lot of times the distractions come in the form of emails, DMs, text messages, phone calls, those types of things. But they also can come into play of employees or people stopping by, things along those lines. So putting yourself in an isolated place that you can be extremely focused, or communicating with somebody if they come up to you and you say, hey, can you give me 30 minutes or can we actually sit down at 12 o'clock so we can talk about this at 12? For the next 2 hours, I got to finish this up. And that keeps your focus really dialed in. And what you end up doing is training the people around you to know, hey, 8 to 10 o'clock or 10 to 12, these are Billy's focus times. So I'm going to refrain from having to talk with Billy between those time frames. And that way I can talk to him at this time. What also that tends to do is when you tell your team, hey, can you give me 10 or can you give me 45 minutes? Can you give me an hour? And we'll talk to you at 12 or whatever time that you set for them. This also empowers them to try to solve the problem themselves. And there's nothing really that's going to pop up in this 2-hour window that's going to be life or death. Obviously, I understand there are certain circumstances that there is a situation like that. And that's a rarity, right? Let's be honest. More often than not, day to day, you're not prepping for worst case scenario. You're prepping for best case scenario. So in these situations, it's okay to put your phone on silent mode. If you are concerned of family health or family members' health or things along those lines, set that in your focus time on your phone so that those calls still come through. But otherwise, turn your phone on focus. That allows you to prevent distractions and really dial in and be able to get these tasks done in these 2-hour blocks. By giving yourself these 2-hour blocks, I like to have two-hour blocks every single day that are completely focused time periods. And one is handling the activities on computer or paperwork that I need to bust out. And then the other 2 hours is my sales time. This is allowing me to focus on driving the business forward, generating income, generating revenue for the business to be able to help us get to where we want to go. More often than not in entrepreneurship, the thing that's driving our greatest amount of stress is income. And we tend to deprioritize this and put this at the end of our day and go, I'll get to this at 3 o'clock. I'm going to do the easy stuff today. Or I'm going to do the easy stuff early, get some momentum going. I get the hardest things done. The things that require the most amount of focus done as early as possible. So if I have to extend my focus time, now I gave myself an extra hour or I have to give myself another block. And so if I can tackle the biggest tasks early, that allows me to have more time. And when you tackle those Mount Everest projects, this is where real momentum gets built. Not little tasks. Little tasks don't build mental momentum up. Don't build mental confidence up. So tackle those big tasks, give yourself these time blocks, and you're going to be able to see yourself condense time frames significantly and no longer give yourself a week or 2 weeks or a month to complete this task. You're not going to be able to complete these tasks in a matter of hours or a matter of days. And that's what I've learned so much is that the highest level entrepreneurs give themselves less time to produce the result that they want. And it's not about just results, but it's about actions. If you give yourself a day to complete an action that you used to give yourself a week, think about how many more actions you can take towards that goal in that week than you used to when you only used to take one action. So now in a day, I can take 2 or 3 actions that used to take me a week to get one done. I can now condense my time frames, increase the likelihood that I achieve that result in a quicker period of time. And this has allowed me to speed up my process to the success that I want and the results that we want for our business and for my personal life. So if you're serious about creating higher level results, look at how you're investing your time and look at creating these isolated time blocks, setting boundaries for yourself, and then being able to hold those to other people. So often we want to set boundaries on everybody else, but now we're expecting the responsibility to be on everybody else when the responsibility needs to be on us to prevent those distractions from coming up and setting those boundaries to go, hey, let's talk at this time, or hey, putting my phone on silent and then getting back to those calls at whatever time it is that you have available for that time block. And that way you can remain focused, you're preventing multitasking, and you're going to be able to get through these high level projects much, much, much quicker. So if you want to increase the speed to achieving the goals that you want, look at condensing timeframes, look at building out time blocks. And like I said, I'm going to do a full length video on this on my YouTube channel. So make sure you like and subscribe my podcast, but also go over to my YouTube channel and like and subscribe to that. Give us a thumbs up on any of our videos. We really appreciate this. This is how we get more people watching the Level Up Your Life podcast, watching my YouTube channel, and being able to grow their businesses and level up their lives. Look, at the end of the day, I'm not here to sell you guys. I'm here to help sell you on leveling up your life and becoming the best version of yourself, which is available to all of us every single day. We all have the opportunity every single day to improve and to grow and to level up. So if you want to level up, in a faster time frame, look at condensing your time frames and building out time blocks in your schedule. And then my last note, because I have a couple minutes before I have to jump onto a sales call, my last note is that when you're approaching your weekly planning, one of the best things to do is I always say plan, do, review. So when you're looking at approaching your week, before you start planning your next week, review your previous week, look at what distractions came up, look at what your most focused time blocks were, look at the activities that you were able to get done in those time blocks, and that will allow you to be able to readjust your plan for the following week to improve your likelihood that you're going to complete these activities in the timeframes that you're giving you, and also minimize the amount of distractions that came up the previous week in the next week. By identifying what distractions led to a lower production in the previous week, you're also going to be able to work to eliminate those distractions. So with that, guys, this is another episode of the Level Up Your Life podcast. I hate to make it quick and I have to jump off, but I got to get into my sales call because I blocked this time out. So with that, we'll see you back here for the next episode of the Level Up Your Life podcast, and make sure to check out my YouTube channel for a more in-depth training on this exact topic.